So today we are going to discuss the histology of the adrenal or suprarenal gland that is situated above the kidney. Now histologically, the adrenal gland is divided into the two component capsule that is covering the gland onto the peripheral aspect and parenchyma. Now parenchyma is having two components, superficial portion that is known as the cortex, that is the major component, approximately 90% of the weight of the gland that is by the cortex, and deeper aspect that is the medulla, approximately 10% of the weight of the adrenal gland. Now the cortical area that is embryologically derived from the mesodermal layer, while the medulla that is embryologically derived from the neural crest cells. Now cortex is again divided into the three portions from outer to inner aspect. First outer portion that is known as the zona glomerulosa, that is comprising of the 15% of the weight. Middle portion that is known as the zona fasciculata, that is approximately having 80% of the segment, and most inner aspect that is known as the zona reticularis, that is carrying 5% of the weight. Now this cortex is producing mainly the steroid hormones, while this medulla is chiefly producing the catecholamines, adrenaline as well as the noradrenaline. Next, we will see the individual structure of the various cortical layers of the adrenal gland as well as the medulla. So outermost portion that is of the cortex, that is known as the zona glomerulosa. As the name suggests, glomerulosa, here you will find the ball-like aggregation of the cells, and the shape of the cell that is having the columnar or the pyramidal type. Now the shape of the aggregation of these cells that is looking like oval or inverted U-shaped clusters, or you can simply say there is a formation of the arch by this type of the cells, and these groups of the cells, they are separated by each other by the capillaries which is containing the blood here, and the hormone that is produced by the glomerulosa, that is known as the aldosterone, that is mainly concerned with the water and electrolyte balance. Now within the cell, pyramidal or columnar type of the cell, you will find the spherical nucleus and the cytoplasm, which is of the acidophilic in nature. So you will see the bright pink color, and within the cytoplasm you will find also the amount of the lipid in the form of the droplets. Next one, that is the zona fasciculata. As the name suggests, fasciculata, here is the arrangement of the cells in the 2 or 3 layer fascicles, 2 or 3 layer wall that is again separated by the capillaries. Okay, so here you can see this is the cells, 2 or 3 column, and the shape of this cell that is having the polygonal aspect, having the spherical nucleus as well as the acidophilic cytoplasm. Now the cells is having the fat within their cytoplasm, which is going to dissolve during the preparation of the slide. So whenever you see the slide under the microscope, you will see the cell which are vacuolated or spongy in characteristics. That's why that cells are also known as the spongiocytes. Okay, and this group of the cells, they are separated by capillaries on each side of their gatherings. Fasciculata cell, they are producing chiefly the glucocorticoids. Next, that is the zona reticularis. As the name suggests, reticularis, there is a arrangement in the form of the networking of the cords, and that is separated by the, you can see the capillaries also here. Okay, so there is a branching pattern, of the cells arranged in form of the quartz. You can see the nucleus as well as the cytoplasm here, but the cell size is smaller as compared to the zona glomerulosa as well as the fasciculata. And within the cytoplasm you can see the yellowish or brownish granules, and that is known as the lipofuscin granules, and the production of this cell, that is the DHEA as well as the cortisol, so that is producing the weak androgen, and that is known as the adrenal androgens, and that is mainly responsible for the masculinizing effect onto the body. Next, that is the medulla, adrenal medulla. Now that is having two types of the cells. One is the chromaffin cells or the secretory cells. You can see the large cell here, and another that is known as the ganglionic cell, that is larger as compared to the chromaffin cells. Now these secretory cells, chromaffin cells, they are actually the post-ganglionic neuron. So that is supplied by the preganglionic sympathetic fibers, and under the control of that preganglionic sympathetic fibers there is a secretion mechanism is activated. This secretory cells, they are also known as the epithelioid cells, and they are also separated with each other by the capillaries or the sinusoids. So here you can see the large cells, they are separated by the wide sinusoids, as well as this larger as well as the more acidophilic cytoplasmic cell that is represented in the sympathetic neuron, and this medulla is going to produce the catecholamines, adrenaline as well as the noradrenalines. Now again, the secretory cells, they are of the two type. One is producing the adrenaline and another that is producing the noradrenaline. Now the cells that is producing noradrenaline, which is having the denser arrangement of the granules within that cytoplasm, while that producing adrenaline, which is having the less denser arrangement of the granules within that cytoplasm. So this is the schematic figure to show you the blood supply of the adrenal gland. As you know that adrenal gland is supplied by the superior, middle and inferior suprarenal arteries, and from that there is a origin of the capsular artery that is lying nearer to the capsule. Now from this capsular artery there is origin of the various cortical as well as the medullary arteries. So here you can see this one and this second one, that is the cortical arteriole, and this is the single medullary arteriole. Now cortical arteriole, they are dividing into the fenestrated capillaries within the zona glomerulosa and forming a capillary plexus. Now from this capillary plexus the blood is drained into this venous sinusoids, which is situated in the zona fasciculata. Now from this venous sinusoid the blood is again drained into the capillary plexus formed within the zona reticularis. Now blood from this capillary plexus situated in the zona reticularis again drained by another capillary venous plexus that is situated within the adrenal medulla region, and from that capillary plexus the venous drainage is ultimately drained into the medullary vein. So this is one channel via the cortical arteriole sinusoids. Okay, another channel that is by the medullary arteriole, and that is directly going to the adrenal medulla, forming the capillary venous plexus here without giving any branches to this cortical area. And so you can see this is the medullary arteriole that is forming a capillary plexus within the medulla, and from this capillary venous plexus there is a venous drainage into the medullary vein. So you can say that in one channel the hormones secreted here in this adrenal cortex, they are poured within this circulation and then again drained into the medulla and then into the medullary vein. So somehow there is an effect of these hormones onto the adrenal medulla. So particularly the glucocorticoids from this zona fasciculata having the positive effect onto the enzymatic activity during the synthesis process of the adrenaline within this adrenal medulla. So this is something regarding the blood supply of the adrenal gland. Next, we see the H&E schematic diagram of the whole adrenal gland. We have already discussed the H&E diagrams according to the different layers of the cortex as well as the adrenal medulla, and this is the whole figure to understand it properly. So on to the peripheral aspect, here there is a capsule, connective tissue capsule is here, and that is giving the connective tissue septa, okay, towards the inner aspect of the gland, as well as that is going to convey the blood vessels and the nerves. Now within the zona glomerulosa area, you can see the arrangement of the cell that is in the form of the inverted U-shaped arches or the cluster of the aggregation of the columnar or the pyramidal cells. After the zona glomerulosa, there is another layer that is termed as the zona fasciculata. In this, there is a, as the name suggests, fasciculata, there is the arrangement of the cells in the form of the 2 or 3 line thick cells. Polygonal cells are there. They are arranged in a cords and separated by the capillaries. And after that, onto the inner aspect, there is the zona reticularis layer. Again, you can see the anastomosing cords of the cells which are smaller in size. In between there is a capillaries is here, and in the adrenal medulla you can see the light staining cells which is having the chromaffin material. Majority of the cell they are of the chromaffin type, and in between this chromaffin cells there is the placement of the darkly stained cell that is known as the ganglion cell. So this is something regarding the schematic H&E diagram of the adrenal gland. Thanks a lot.